49ers news and rumors mailbag coming your way on the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Sr. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We just surpassed 45,000 subscribers. We go live every single Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, in addition for our watch parties where we go live during all of our game days. But all of these questions that I answer are during our live shows. First question coming in from a diehard fan of the 49ers Report, Garcia Brothers. What's up, Chase? You're the GOAT, bro. Thank you, my man. Keep up the great work. Hey, I appreciate the compliment. Don't even need to ask a question. I do appreciate those kind words. Next question coming in from Shane Eslick. Chase, do you think the Saints or Steelers could have interest in Jimmy Garoppolo this season? Yes. I do think that during this offseason, they could potentially have interest in Jimmy Garoppolo. As I kind of think about the quarterback-needy teams across the NFL, you're looking at teams like the Washington football team who just beat the hated Seattle Seahawks, depending on how Taylor Heineke plays and if Ryan Fitzpatrick comes back next year. He's not going to come back the remainder of the year because of that hip injury. So Washington football team, Ben Roethlisberger is washed, so I'd put the Pittsburgh Steelers in there. Houston Texans, Miami Dolphins, depending on what happens with Tua Tagovailoa. Denver Broncos, because I don't think Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock are long-term answers, nor is Trevor Siemian, Jameis Winston, or Taysom Hill. So Saints, Steelers in there. The Atlanta Falcons, maybe if they decide to move on from Matt Ryan, a former MVP who rose to stardom when Kyle Shanahan was his offensive coordinator. Those are just some of the teams that come to mind when I think about quarterback-needy teams across the NFL. And when teams need a quarterback, sometimes they get desperate, and sometimes they're willing to fork over a high-end pick, second, third rounder. I'd take it if I'm John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan. Gabe Weese, do you think we can beat the Chickens if Deebo is out and Elijah Mitchell steps up? I think that the 49ers should beat the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I understand the Seahawks are down, but they always play the 49ers well. In fact, they have won 14 of the last 16 matchups between these two teams. They've really had Kyle Shanahan's number, Jim Harbaugh's number, and this franchise's number. It's really unfortunate, but they're going to try to slow the game down. They're going to try to ugly it up. 49ers have to win the turnover battle, and it's going to be a tall task, even against a down team without Deebo Samuel and Fred Warner. So I think the 49ers have to beat the Seahawks. If they lose, it would be a disastrous loss. There's nothing really that I want more during this holiday season than the 49ers to officially end the Seahawks season and hand them that fat L. So it's a good time to ask for your predictions as we talk about this game. Who you got? Get into the comment section and let us know. Type SEA for the Seahawks, SF for the 49ers. Chime in and get those predictions in. Matthew Bowman, who do you think is going to the stand out this week out of our young wide receiver core? So who do you think is going to stand out, Matthew Bowman? I got you up. I'll pick up the slack there. Out of our young wide receiver core. Brandon Aiyuk's going to slide into that number one spot. Shout out to Ludacris for a great song back in the day. Coming for that number one spot. Yeah, we got bangers here on the channel. He had 91 receiving yards against the Minnesota Vikings last week, and really over the last 5-6 weeks, we've seen Brandon Aiyuk turn the corner. And as a former first-round pick, you expect him to play the way that he's been playing, and he's really been playing excellent football. Really good athlete, really good explosion. His average yards of separation has increased from the first month and change of the season. He's been a relied-upon target on crossing routes, out routes, routes downfield, critical routes, and money downs throughout the game. He's also been a good red zone target as well. So Aiyuk's going to step up. Here's the guy I'm really keeping an eye on, though, come Sunday. It's George Kittle. Only had one catch last week against the Minnesota Vikings. With Deebo out, I expect to see more George Kittle, and I expect Kyle Shanahan to really implement him in this game plan moving forward this week. Shaylah Vanatta, $10 super chat. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If Jimmy Garoppolo gets traded, who would you sacrifice to get a first-round pick? Kittle, Bosa, Warner. We need a first to strengthen the DBs. It's a really good question. This is a very deep defensive back class, so I don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get a first-round pick. But if you get a second-round pick, there are going to be good cornerbacks and good safeties there who the Niners are going to have at their disposal when they do make a draft choice. So that's good news right there. And if he does get traded, when I sacrificed a first-round pick, they don't have a first-round pick. to trade away. Now, would I trade away George Kittle? I think you can survive without a player like George Kittle because I think Ross Dwelley and Charlie Warner would at least be able to play solid. George Kittle, though, sometimes his impact doesn't show up on the stat sheet. My man is an elite blocker and one of the best two-way tight ends in the league. And by the way, 3 red zone targets this year, 3 touchdowns. He's an unbelievable presence. So ideally, you don't trade him away, but I do think a team would give you a pretty premium draft asset. Definitely not giving away Bosa or Warner. They are all part of this 49ers core moving forward that I think is a very good core. So, yeah, wouldn't trade George Kittle. Would think about trading away Jimmy Garoppolo. He's got a $27 million cap hit next year and helps your draft positioning potentially. Cody Lewis, what if Jimmy Garoppolo leads the 49ers to the Super Bowl? Should the 49ers then trade Trey Lance? Wow, that's pretty juicy. Ian Rappaport did report over the weekend that outside of a Super Bowl run and a Super Bowl victory, the plan for this organization is to trade away Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason. And we've talked about this a lot. I think he can get you a second-round pick if he continues to play at this level. Now, if he wins you a Super Bowl, what do? I think you just bring Jimmy Garoppolo back. You continue to tutor and develop Trey Lance. He got drafted at 20 years old. He completed a little bit more than 300 passes at North Dakota State. So he can still be raw. And remember, Aaron Rodgers, one of the most gifted quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, didn't play his first couple of years because Brett Favre was occupying that starting quarterback role. So it's not like we've never seen a situation like this. Now, I hope that Jimmy Garoppolo leads the Niners to the Super Bowl because that's awesome for us. That's great for the channel, etc. We'll see what happens, but I would not trade away Trey Lance. I think he's the future of this franchise. If you had to pick one, though, who would you pick? Would it be Jimmy G? Would it be Trey Lance? Type JG for Garoppolo, TL for Trey Lance. It's kind of tough, but either way, be sure to get those votes in. Fanatics is our presenting sponsor for today's 49ers News and Rumors mailbag, where we take all of your questions during our live show on Tuesday. This deal, you really can't beat it. It is a Niners t-shirt and Niners hat on sale, 50% off. It was $40, now on sale for $20. Only if you use that link down below, chatsports.com/49ers combo. It's one of the best deals on the internet, no question. And the holiday season is here. Why would you go out to the store when you can just kick it at the crib, watch the 49ers report, and get this delivered quickly in all sizes to your doorstep? And it's 50% off. And it's $20. Treat yourself or somebody who you care about during this holiday season by getting this hat t-shirt combo only by using that link down below. Another super chat coming in. This time it's $5 from Toussaint. D Ford, Jimmy G, and the lame defensive tackle with arthritic knees, he's speaking of Javon Kinlaw, should clear up plenty of cap space to pay Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa. Yeah, D Ford could come off the books. That could free up some money, no question. Jimmy Garoppolo cap hit next year of $27 million, as I've talked about here on the channel. I don't know if you cut Javon Kinlaw after 2 years going into year 3 after he got that ACL reconstruction. I still want to see what you have from a former first-round pick. There's no doubt you got to free up some money, and I would pay Deebo and Bosa after this year, considering how instrumental they've been on both sides of the football, how highly I think of both of them as impact players and elite players in the National Football League. They have one more year remaining on their rookie contract, but I think you get this deal out of the way, and by doing so, getting it done early, you might be able to save some dollars. Anthony Dominguez, does Talanoa Hufanga have what it takes to become a starter this year? Yeah, because we've seen him start when Jaquiski Tartt has been out. So Tartt not starting? Yeah, Hufanga has stepped in and played well at that safety spot. Another guy who the Niners got late in the draft, and that's when John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and the scouts with this organization do deserve some credit because they've identified talent late in some of these drafts. So I do think Hufanga has what it takes to become a starter. Now, is it a long-term franchise pillar type of starter? I'm not sure about that, but at the very least, he could play safety, he can play hybrid linebacker, he plays special teams, he plays in the box, back in coverage. I really like him. He's got good instincts. Speaking of Talanoa Hufanga, the rookie late-round pick out of USC, Hufanga at linebacker. Yeah, he's been featured there a little bit, and he's been sent on blitzes. He's gotten home on some of those blitzes. Everybody gets so obsessed with who the athletes are these days. Hufanga might not be the springiest athlete or the most explosive athlete. My man is just able to dissect and read plays very, very quickly and early. That's what allows him to cause some destruction in the backfield if he's in the box, being sent on blitzes, or in the pass game as well, just being able to read some of those breaking routes. So Talanoa Hufanga as a linebacker, yeah, he can play a little bit of that, but part of his usage, part of his greatness, and part of his versatility and value, him playing multiple positions on the field. Let's get to this question from Brian Jones 13. With Deebo Samuel out, does Brandon Aiyuk have the potential to be a number one caliber wideout? Executive producer Sam is telling me to do this. Bang, bang, Niner gang. I got you, Sam. Yeah, Brandon Aiyuk has the potential to be a number one caliber wideout. I think we've seen that the last couple of weeks. He has all of the traits. And I think after overcoming that maybe mental lapse or mental struggles early in the season, he's turned into a very, very good player. Now, maybe he's benefited because Deebo Samuel has had so much of the focus from opposing defenses centered in on him, but we'll see this weekend. Aiyuk has to step up. I think George Kittle's going to have a big game, but I think Aiyuk possesses all of the necessary traits for him to be a very good long-term option at wide receiver. Tyla Phillip, what's going on? Let's go Sunday. Beat the Seahawks. Join us for our watch party on Sunday, Tyla. And everybody watching right now, if you haven't seen one of our watch parties, they're awesome, man. I do play-by-play, live analysis. I take your questions. We interact with the audience. Kind of just watch the game and hang out together. Drink some tequila, shotgun some beers. The Super Chat menu is always out and popping. We get live, we get lit, and we'll be doing it again on Sunday. We'll be going live 15 minutes before kickoff, 4:10 p.m. Eastern, 1:10 p.m. Pacific. Jace Adeva, hopefully I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I apologize. Do you think we can get a first for Jimmy if he plays well? I think that's a little bit of a stretch. I'm not sure a first-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo is going to do it. I think a second-round pick is more realistic. Wet Noodle 187, they are calling for a 50% chance of rain. Do you think that favors us a lot more? Yeah, because the Seahawks couldn't run the football against the Washington football team on Monday Night Football. They ran for less than 50 yards. They couldn't get the ground game going. And what's the forte? What's the strength of this Niners offense and Kyle Shanahan's scheme? Running the football. And that's really how they've been able to get on a roll of late. Their offensive line has been great. I tweeted out an all-22 clip on my Twitter page, at Chase_Senior, this morning on Tuesday. Take a look at it. I kind of broke down all of the parts. What I love about football is it sounds cliche to say it takes all 11 guys on the field to do their jobs for a team to be successful and for a play to work. But that's the perfect illustration, that play that I tweeted out, of that just ringing true. You had Brandon Aiyuk blocking and with a seal. You had Jeff Wilson out in space. Daniel Brunskill, Tom Compton, Kyle Juszczyk, all making their blocks as well downfield. So Kyle Shanahan's scheme, he's really one of the only coaches who makes running the football look cool, so I do think it could really favor San Francisco. Garcia Brothers with another question. Chase, with a big-time key player like Deebo hurt, out a few weeks. It's supposed to be 1 to 2 weeks. We'll see. What are the chances of the 49ers winning without him? It's going to be a tough go against the Seahawks and against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals aren't the Bungles of old. They're playing good football. Joe Burrow really has improved the last couple of weeks, playing a safer brand of football, not turning it over as much. And while the Seahawks are a terrible team, and I'm confident in saying that, they're bad this year, they've won 14 of 16 against the Niners. So it's going to be a tough couple of weeks. Both of those games on the road, too, by the way. They're going to have to make do without Deebo, but also Fred Warner as well. Before we stop this mailbag, hey, give me a follow on Twitter. If I didn't answer your questions, just hit me up at Chase_Senior. It's also the same handle on Instagram. So if you're like, I don't have Twitter, Chase, you can hit me up on IG as well. Verified on Twitter, getting there on IG at Chase_Senior. Get at me.